It was a sweltering summer afternoon, and the sun was scorching on a quiet road. Roman Davis, a 36-year-old man with a calm appearance, walked across the street to avoid wasting time traveling far to the legal crossing. But as soon as he stepped on the sidewalk on the other side, the shrill sound of patrol car horns tore through the quiet space. Roman turned around and realized that a police car had just stopped. 2 policemen stepped down, each with a different attitude. Sergeant Zoilis, a large man with a spiteful gaze, took the lead. He was followed by Carter, a young officer with an embarrassed look in his eyes, who seemed uncomfortable in the situation. "What do you think I'm doing?" Zoilis shouted loudly, tapping the baton on the palm of his hand as if to increase his power. Roman looked directly at him, his voice calm but clear. "I just crossed the street. The road is empty." Crossing the street illegally, Zoilis smirked, his tone contemptuous. "Give me your papers." Not wanting to cause more trouble, Roman slowly pulled out his wallet, trying to show cooperation. Zoilis snatched the ID card as if it were evidence in a serious case. Reading through the information, Zoilis suddenly snarled. "It's the kind of person who thinks he's above the law." His words are not only ironic, but also discriminatory. Roman frowned but kept his voice calm. "This is just a minor violation. Is what you are doing this necessary?" Roman's question was like pouring more oil on the fire. Zoilis shouted, "Put your hand behind your back." He was arrested for a traffic offense. Just because of crossing the street? Roman was surprised but tried to stay calm. "Isn't this excessive?" Carter, standing next to him, looked awkward. "Sergeant, maybe we should handle it more gently." "Shut up," Zoilis interrupted, his eyes flashing with anger. "I don't need a rookie to tell me what to do." Roman was handcuffed and pushed into a patrol car in front of the crowd that had begun to gather. Some people took their phones back, while others whispered. The public reaction took place on the spot and quickly spread. Witnesses to the arrest, from curious eyes to the act of pulling out their phones to film, were the beginning of a wave of outrage. A woman in the crowd said loudly, "Arrest people just for crossing the street? It's ridiculous," expressing frustration at the excessive actions of the police. Images of Roman being pushed into a patrol car and then locked in a rusty iron cage in the backyard of a police station have become the focus of controversy when videos have gone viral on social media. This outrage did not stop at angry comments but quickly turned into action. The public focused attention on Roman's story, seeing him as a symbol of the injustice that many others may have suffered. Hashtags such as #JusticeForRoman and #EndPoliceAbuse appeared everywhere on social media, creating a movement demanding justice for Roman and reforming the police system. Upon arriving at the police station, Zoilis led Roman to the backyard, where there was an old, rusty iron cage. "Come in," Zoilis ordered, his voice full of sarcasm. Roman looked at the cage, then turned to Zoilis, his eyes not hiding his contempt. "You seriously want to lock me in here just for crossing the street?" "That's right," Zoilis smirked. "You'll have time to think about obeying the law." Roman walked in, sat down on the cold concrete floor, and smiled faintly. "It's really comfortable. Is this a deliberate or random decoration style?" Zoilis turned away, leaving Roman in the iron cage. Carter was still standing, his eyes full of regret but not daring to speak. While Roman was in custody, videos of his arrest quickly went viral on social media. The image of a man sitting in a rusty iron cage just for crossing the street has caused a storm of public opinion. Hashtags such as #JusticeForRoman, #PoliceAccountability, and #EndPoliceAbuse appear overwhelmingly on Twitter, Facebook, and Instagram. Human rights activists, from local to national organizations, began to speak out. They held protests, held up banners demanding justice for Roman and reforming the police system. The media quickly got involved, making the case the focus of public opinion. Articles, TV shows, and analysis from legal experts all revolve around Roman's story. From headlines like "Man Jailed for Crossing the Street," "Abuse of Power or Abuse of the System," to televised talks, the case has been thoroughly dissected. The media not only recounted the event, but also provoked deeper discussions about human rights, discrimination, and abuse of power in the law enforcement system. Besides the media, human rights organizations are also strongly involved. Local organizations such as civil rights groups and large national organizations have used their power to increase pressure on the authorities. Protests were held just outside the police station, with banners demanding justice for Roman and comprehensive reform. These organizations are also working with Roman's lawyers to ensure that the case is not forgotten after the media has subsided. Thanks to the coordination between the media and advocacy organizations, the pressure on local authorities is increasing. The sheriff was forced to take emergency measures to calm public opinion, including suspending Zoilis, accepting Carter's resignation, and dismantling the iron cage. More importantly, the incident sparked broader discussions about reforming the police system, helping to create long-term changes. Roman is not only a victim in this story, but he also becomes the catalyst for a larger movement. From calmness in the face of injustice to partnering with organizations and the media, Roman has turned his story into a force for change for the entire community. At the police station, the phone rang non-stop. Reporters, lawyers, and representatives of human rights organizations called in unison to demand answers. The sheriff, in a state of extreme tension, summoned Zoilis and Carter to the office. "You guys just caused a media storm," he shouted. "The whole city is looking at us with contempt." "It's just a small thing," Zoilis said, still looking complacent. "They'll forget it right away." But before his words had cooled, the office door opened, and Roman entered. In a well-groomed suit, his eyes were cold, and there was no trace of the man who was oppressed yesterday. "Good morning," Roman said, his voice calm but authoritative. "I'm the Federal Ombudsman for Human Rights." Roman, who was promoted to the post of Federal Human Rights Inspector, has transformed from a reluctant victim to a professional and powerful investigator. His role in exposing the system's misconduct not only stopped at defending his rights, but also created greater motivation for the public. By providing evidence that clearly pointed out the mistakes and abuses of power in the actions of the officers, Roman triggered attention from the media and social organizations. He has been in direct contact with a variety of advocacy groups and legal experts to ensure all wrongdoing is investigated to the end. The meeting room was as silent as a sheet. Zoilis turned pale, Carter lowered his head. Roman opened the document, turning the pages with absolute calm. "You didn't just violate human rights yesterday. This has been a long string of misconduct." He raised his head, his eyes as sharp as a knife. "And I'm here to put an end to it." Zoilis was suspended from work, facing allegations of abuse of power. Carter resigned in silence. The iron cage was dismantled, becoming a symbol of reform. But Roman didn't stop. Britain has partnered with human rights organizations, capitalizing on the wave of public opinion to push for systemic change. With every step he takes, he not only fights for himself but also for all those who have suffered injustice. He knew that this was only the beginning of a long battle. After severe public repression, Officer Zoilis was suspended and prosecuted for abuse of power. He lost his job and faces criminal investigations related to his history of professional abuse. Meanwhile, Officer Carter decided to voluntarily resign after being subjected to a rigorous test from management. The incident has triggered a series of synchronous system reforms. The field cell has been dismantled, and the police team's handover and investigation process has been adjusted to facilitate more transparency. In addition, training sessions on professional ethics have been organized to raise the awareness of officers about human rights. Roman has continued to represent those who have been oppressed by the system. He has created a network of working groups to ensure that similar cases are exposed and handled. Through seminars and propaganda on social media, he protested that the fight against injustice is not over, but has just begun. The public has been called upon to participate in the promotion of fair values. Roman encouraged people to use their voices to demand change, stressing that injustices in the system can only be eradicated when the public acts together. Roman's story is not only a testament to injustice, but also a reminder that we can change the world with action and determination. As he said in a closing statement, "Fairness does not come naturally, it is the result of the persistent efforts of all of us."